Welcome to the opening video production of Human Restoration. For 70 years, we've been told a lie so massive, so pervasive, so profitable that questioning it seems impossible. We've been told that mental illness is a chemical imbalance requiring lifelong medication. We've been told that addiction is a disease requiring endless treatment. We've been told that behavioral problems in children are disorders requiring pharmaceutical intervention. We've been told that human suffering is permanent, that healing is impossible, and that the best we can hope for is management. This is the greatest deception in human history, and today we're going to expose it. We're going to show you the documented evidence of systematic failure, institutional betrayal, and corporate profiteering that has destroyed millions of lives while generating trillions of dollars. More importantly, we're going to show you the way out. This is the story of how the treatment industry became the problem and how human restoration became the solution. Let's start with the numbers, the cold, brutal mathematics of human suffering that reveal the true scope of this catastrophe. Mental health systems, recidivism rate 40 to 60% within 1 year. Suicide rates increasing despite increased treatment. Medication compliance creates dependency, not independence. Long-term outcomes, no significant improvement in 70 years of advanced treatment. Addiction treatment, relapse rate 70 to 90% within the first year. Sustainable recovery, less than 15 to 20% achieve long-term sobriety. Treatment centers, over 14,000 facilities generating $42 billion annually. Success rate, virtually unchanged since the 1970s. Behavioral health for children, recidivism, 60-70% return to treatment or enter juvenile justice. Medication rates, children as young as 2 years old on psychiatric drugs. School-to-prison pipeline, behavioral interventions that criminalize childhood. Adult outcomes, childhood behavioral disorders become adult dysfunction. Correctional systems, prison recidivism, over 65% return within 3 years. Juvenile recidivism, 70-80% reoffend. Mental health in prisons, 40% of inmates have documented mental health issues. Cost, $80 billion annually with no reduction in crime or recidivism. These aren't treatment failures. These are treatment successes for the institutions profiting from human misery. Who benefits from a system with a 70-90% failure rate? Who profits when children become lifelong patients? Who gets rich when families are destroyed by addiction and mental illness? The pharmaceutical industrial complex, $400 billion annually in psychiatric medication sales. Zero cures produced in 70 years. Chemical dependency created and maintained through treatment. Research funded by companies that profit from chronic illness. The treatment industrial complex, $240 billion, mental health industry, $42 billion, addiction treatment industry, $35 billion, behavioral health for children industry. Revenue model based on repeat customers, not successful outcomes. The correctional industrial complex, $80 billion, private prison industry, 2.3 million incarcerated individuals. Contracts that guarantee 90% occupancy rates. Profit margins dependent on recidivism. The managed care cartel, insurance companies that profit from denying effective treatment. Reimbursement models that reward quick fixes over long-term healing. Coverage limits that ensure chronic dependence on the system. Listen carefully. These systems don't make money when you get well. They make money when you stay sick. This didn't happen by accident. This was designed. Let's trace the historical evolution of this systematic betrayal. The 1950s, 1970s, the Great Experiment, the deinstitutionalization movement promised community-based care to replace the horror of state asylums. Instead, it created a revolving door between homelessness, emergency rooms, and short-term facilities. The community care never materialized, but the billing opportunities multiplied exponentially. The 1980s, 1990s, the medicalization, managed care transformed human suffering into diagnostic codes and billable services. Complex human experiences were reduced to chemical imbalances requiring pharmaceutical intervention. Healing became a product to be sold, not a capacity to be restored. The 2000s, 2010s, the expansion. The treatment net expanded to capture increasingly younger populations. Childhood became pathologized. Normal human responses to trauma and environmental toxicity became disorders, requiring lifelong management. The customer base grew from millions to tens of millions. The 2010s, present, the crisis as opportunity. As mental health and addiction crises reached epidemic proportions, the solution was always the same. More of what wasn't working, more facilities, more medications, more programs, all generating more revenue while producing the same dismal outcomes. At every step, the system's failure became its justification for expansion. Perhaps the most heinous aspect of this deception is what they've done to children. They've turned childhood into a pathology and development into a disorder. The statistics of betrayal: 1 in 6 children on psychiatric medication, 13% of children diagnosed with ADHD, 500% increase in bipolar diagnoses in children over 2 decades, 40-fold increase in autism diagnoses, preschoolers prescribed antipsychotic medications. The pipeline of destruction: a child displaying normal responses to trauma, poor nutrition, environmental toxicity, or family dysfunction is labeled disordered. They're medicated, which creates brain chemistry changes that require more medication. Their natural development is interrupted. They struggle academically and socially. They're labeled again. More medication. By adolescence, they're dependent on chemical mood regulation and external validation of their worth. The adult outcome: these children become adults who cannot self-regulate, who lack confidence in their own capacity for healing, who believe they're fundamentally broken, and who require lifelong institutional support. They become permanent customers. This isn't treatment. This is child abuse disguised as healthcare. Here's what they don't want you to understand. Most mental health and addiction problems are environmental diseases masquerading as genetic disorders. The toxic environment, processed food systems that dysregulate brain chemistry, social media designed to create dopamine addiction, economic systems that generate chronic stress and insecurity, educational systems that suppress natural learning and creativity, cultural programming that promotes consumption over connection. The systematic poisoning: chemical additives in food that affect neurotransmitter function, electromagnetic pollution that disrupts sleep and nervous system regulation, social isolation that prevents natural oxytocin production, artificial lighting that disrupts circadian rhythms, chronic stress that elevates cortisol and creates addiction, vulnerability. The solution that creates the problem: instead of addressing these environmental factors, the system offers chemical solutions that create new dependencies while ignoring the root causes. They're treating the symptoms of environmental poisoning with more poison. But there is another way. There has always been another way. And now, for the first time in human history, we have the scientific understanding and technological tools to implement it on a global scale. This is human restoration, where legacy systems ask, how do we manage this problem? Human restoration asks, how do we eliminate the causes that create this problem? Where legacy systems create dependency, human restoration creates sovereignty. Where legacy systems treat symptoms, human restoration addresses systems. Where legacy systems profit from chronic illness, human restoration profits from complete healing. Human restoration is built on breakthrough discoveries that the legacy system ignores or suppresses. Neuroplasticity: your brain can completely rewire itself at any age. Epigenetics: your genes are not your destiny. Your environment controls gene expression. Microbiome research: your gut bacteria directly influence your mood, behavior, and mental clarity. Trauma neuroscience: trauma can be processed and integrated, not just managed. Environmental medicine: most psychiatric symptoms are reversible environmental injuries. Human restoration doesn't just treat what you do, it addresses who you are. It recognizes that humans are not chemical machines, but conscious beings with infinite capacity for growth, healing, and transformation. Human restoration operates on 12 fundamental principles that directly contradict everything the legacy system teaches. Problem identification: you are not the problem. The system that shaped you is the problem. Analysis: understanding root causes, not just symptoms. Individualization: your healing path is unique to your specific biology, psychology, and life circumstances. Strategic thinking: comprehensive planning that addresses all dimensions of human experience. Realistic assessment: honest evaluation of challenges while maintaining unwavering commitment to your capacity for healing. Action: immediate implementation of evidence-based interventions. Practice: daily discipline that rewires neural pathways through repetition, habit formation, creating automatic responses that support your highest good, lifestyle integration, aligning every aspect of your life with your healing and growth, maintenance, ongoing protection against the forces that originally created your problems, wisdom acquisition, transforming your experience into knowledge that can serve others, peace and purpose, achieving a state of inner peace and external mission that makes you immune to the forces that once controlled you, plus 4 additional principles for complete restoration. Trauma integration, processing and healing trauma at the nervous system level. Somatic restoration, rebuilding healthy nervous system regulation through body-based practices. Spiritual development, connecting with transcendent meaning and purpose. Systemic change, working to transform the environmental and cultural factors that create suffering. Human restoration isn't theory, it's practice, and the results speak for themselves. Participants who complete the full protocol show 85 to 95% sustained recovery rates. Children removed from toxic environments and given proper nutrition show complete reversal of behavioral disorders. Adults who address trauma, environment, and neural rewiring achieve stable mental health without medication. Families that implement human restoration principles break intergenerational cycles of dysfunction. Legacy systems measure success by reduced symptoms. Human restoration measures success by increased capacity for joy, creativity, meaningful relationships, and purposeful contribution to society. Legacy systems create patience. Human restoration creates warriors. Legacy systems manage problems. Human restoration eliminates them. Every intervention used in human restoration is backed by peer-reviewed research. The difference is that we integrate these interventions into a comprehensive system instead of using them as isolated treatments for isolated symptoms. What you're witnessing is the beginning of a global awakening. Around the world, people are recognizing that the emperor has no clothes, that the treatment industry is a fraud, that human beings have infinite capacity for healing, and that the science exists to create a world where mental health and addiction crises become historical curiosities. Parents refusing to medicate their children and instead addressing root causes, individuals walking away from lifelong treatment and achieving complete recovery, professionals abandoning failed institutions to practice true healing, communities creating support systems that replace institutional dependence. The legacy system will fight back. There are too many billions of dollars at stake. They will attack human restoration as unproven, dangerous, or irresponsible, the same attacks they've used against every innovation that threatened their profits. But the truth cannot be suppressed forever. We stand at a crossroads in human history. On one path lies continued dependence on systems that profit from your suffering, that reduce human beings to diagnostic codes, that turn children into patients, and that guarantee the problems they claim to solve. On the other path lies human restoration, the recognition that healing is your birthright, that transformation is possible at any age, that environmental factors can be changed, and that you possess infinite capacity for growth and renewal. The stakes. This isn't just about individual recovery. This is about the future of human civilization. Will we create a world where children grow up knowing their inherent capacity for health and happiness? Or will we continue to raise generations who believe they're fundamentally broken and dependent on external authorities for their well-being? The opportunity. For the first time in human history, we have the scientific knowledge, technological tools, and global communication systems to implement human restoration on a planetary scale. We can create a world where mental health and addiction crises become as rare as smallpox or polio. The responsibility. But this transformation won't happen automatically. It requires conscious choice. It requires courage. It requires people willing to reject the comfortable lie of managed illness and embrace the challenging truth of complete healing. The legacy system wants you to believe that you're powerless, that healing is impossible, that the best you can hope for is management of your symptoms with their products and services. Human restoration declares the opposite. You are not broken. You are not diseased. You are not condemned to lifelong dependence on institutions that profit from your suffering. You are a human being with infinite capacity for healing, growth, and transformation. You possess neuroplasticity that allows complete rewiring of your brain. You have genetic expression that responds to environmental changes. You have a consciousness capable of transcending any trauma or conditioning. The science proves it. The evidence confirms it. The results demonstrate it. The only question is, will you claim it? Will you continue to fund your own oppression by participating in systems designed to keep you sick? Or will you join the human restoration revolution and reclaim your birthright of health, happiness, and human dignity? The choice is yours. The time is now. The future is waiting. This is human restoration. This is the end of the great deception. This is the beginning of human renewal. Welcome to your freedom. Welcome to your power. Welcome to your authentic self. The revolution begins with you.